Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Reptile Barn. Just wanted to give my quick take. I do mean quick, I swear. I'm not going to ramble. A lot of people are talking about how the ball python industry is slowing down. I haven't really heard a ton of people that are like, it's crashing, it's crashing. Seems like every couple years that is the claim. It's never been true. But I would agree that right now, kind of, mirroring the general state of the economy, ball python sales are slow, real slow. Um, so I don't think there's any special reason for that other than that the economy is slow. Uh, what I do want to talk about is kind of what can we do, right? Um, Obviously, in hindsight, diversify, right? I know that doesn't help right now if you haven't already done it, but you know, someone was like, "Oh, my ball python sales are slow, but my boas are doing great," or even within ball pythons, yeah, my $1,000 animals that used to be my staple, they're just sitting on the shelf, not moving, but super expensive projects are still going really well. I think it was Miguel from Always Evolving Pythons that was talking about that. Now, many of us don't have $12,000 projects going on. I sure don't. But I have noticed here at the Reptile Barn, local sales haven't slowed down a bit. People just looking for a pet, up to about $1,000. If people are looking for a pet, I haven't seen any slowdown at all, which is remarkable. But we have heavily marketed ourselves to our local community as well as we have been able to. So that's kind of always been a push of ours, and it's paying off right now because out of state sales are slow. People aren't going on Morph Market right now and buying 6 snakes at a time. In general, I don't mean completely. We still have made some sales, out of state, but so diversify is one thing. Have multiple price ranges of your snakes that you have multiple species. If you have feeders that you sell, maybe it's time to ramp that up for a bit. If you do enclosures, if you have, if you do shows, I mean, like, school events, birthday parties, etc. Any of those sorts of things, if you build racks, put some focus into those things right now. Try and get through this without just dropping out. Now, if you need to drop out, and get a different job because you got to put food on the table, that's completely fine. But that leads me to my next thing. Those breeders who don't drop out, who just accept that sales are slow and have a way to get through it anyways, maybe don't breed quite as many clutches. I'm not sure if that's good advice. It seems like it to me. There might be a few things that we don't breed this year that we were intending to. We'll kind of focus on the things that seem to maintain their demand, or things that we knew we were going to keep the babies anyways, right, as future breeders. Unless you expect the economy to stay really bad for the next 12 years or something, then it'll bounce back like always. I don't know. I've only been doing this for, making sales for about 8 years. So I wasn't doing this during the 2008 kind of housing crash that affected the economy so strongly. Obviously people from back in the 70s or whatever, when the economy went nuts in a bad way. I haven't been through any of that. So just from what I have heard from other people, my little bit of experience, I think that the industry is going to be okay. I'm not really a doom and gloom on a world scale kind of person. But I do also think that it would be smart to make some tough choices, right? We were already, I don't know, those of you who watched a previous video of ours, we were already at that stage of our business where we didn't want to expand our numbers anymore just because of space. So we've kind of taken the opportunity to start selling a few of our adult breeder ball pythons, um, that we kind of needed to anyways. And this was a nice little push for us, right? We really didn't want to get any bigger. We have holdbacks that are going to be breeding in a year or two. Uh, so we have just been kind of making this minor change anyways. Uh, we are going to focus on some of our other species a little bit that have super high demand, like the sailfin dragons, right? Uh, we're going to try and get some more of those. That's just a random example for me. Um, we we don't really sell a lot of feeders. I sell to customers of mine who've bought snakes from me, but we don't have a big feeder operation. But that could be something we expanded. But my biggest point that I wanted to make is those of you who stick around and keep breeding, if I am right and the economy bounces back, there's going to be a decrease in supply because some people are going to have stopped breeding altogether. Maybe if it lasts a year or two longer than already, from right now, if it's 2 more years of really slow sales, a lot of people are going to stop breeding. A lot, okay? And the supply is going to drop. But then if the economy bounces back and people have a little more spending money again and demand goes up, it's going to be a spectacular time to be a breeder. I think it's always a spectacular time to be a breeder, but financially speaking, that scenario I just described would be kind of another boom, right? Like when the checks started coming out, right? If you're in the United States, and we were getting these stimulus checks during the pandemic, sales were fantastic, right? Because many people hadn't lost their jobs. Huge sympathy for those who did, but we were getting checks whether we lost our jobs or not. So there were a ton of people who were like, hey, I've had my eyeball on one of these higher end ball pythons for years, and the government just handed me thousands of dollars. So I'm taking the plunge. And we couldn't produce snakes fast enough. We literally couldn't. Our baby racks were bare. And it was great. We knew it wouldn't last. We planned accordingly. But while it lasted, awesome. As far as our small business goes, it was great. So I just wanted to point out that there are some positives. Sometimes if you're like me, you need a little push. Some bad times to push you to make some changes that make your business healthier, right? And when sales slow down for consecutive months, that's a good push for me. We're not really desperate. We still make enough sales. We're covering all our bills. We're able to keep giving ourselves a paycheck and all that. But a lot of the things we were thinking that we'd be buying right now, we're not, right? Because we aren't making enough excess in sales, and that's completely fine. We are also, planning to move here in a year and a half, and we're going to need some funds to do that. At least some racks and enclosures at the new location so that we can move animals across without trying to move them in their racks and in their glass tanks and all that nightmare. But so anyways, I swore I wouldn't get rambling. I wanted to talk about this, and I fully understand that this is actually, a hard time. I'm always making the video combating that, where I'm like, the ball python industry is not crashing. You guys are crazy. That's kind of my general take when I get talking about this subject. But right now, I am fully on board. It's slow. I think for everybody, for all kind of tiers of the ball python industry specifically, but also kind of the reptile world and the exotic animal world, it's slow to some degree, And but I also wanted to emphasize that it doesn't have to be all bad. If you can survive it, get creative, figure out a way to get through this. there will probably be a real good time balancing this out whenever the economy starts to come back, right? Um, so, anyways, that's all I've got. I don't know if this is interesting to you or not, but I always hear from a few people that are like, "Oh, I like it when you talk about the industry and the business side of things." So I try and space these videos in within my more snake care related vlogs and stuff. And it's been on my mind anyways. Again, I watched maybe the first few minutes of a video about this. I believe it was from Always Evolving Pythons, where he talked about some of this same stuff. And he's many tiers above me as far as the number and the just financial value of the snakes he's producing, and he still was addressing this. He's talking about the same kind of thing. So I think it's good to be realistic. This probably is not going to be a boom year, right? But that is totally fine as long as we can, make it through it safely and still have enough to take care of all our animals and all that stuff. We just won't grow as much as we thought we would. That's okay. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, we are the Reptile Barn.